The best way to get better at programming is to practice. And in this example, we're going to take a previous project that we did where we just checked to see if they got some scores within a certain range. Now this letter grade is going to be based on a 10-point scale. So a 90 and up is going to be an A, an 80 to a 90 is B, etc. Unless you get below a 60, in which case it is an F. As always, this sample file is available for download from the link provided below. We'll give you a second so you can download it. Alright, so let's get started. So here we have the basics of what we're working with, getting our average, and that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a series of if statements. Notice that something new to this one is I have a char for a grade, and I'm going to store that information inside that variable. So I'm going to say something like if average is greater than or equal to 90. And say grade equals A. Notice I'm using single quotes because grade is a char, not a string. Now, I'm going to then say else if average is greater than or equal to 80. Now, you might look at this and go, wait a second. If I'm greater than 90, I'm also greater than 80. But remember, once the if statement is met, none of the other statements are going to get checked. And so if I am a 92, I get my grade as an A, and then I'm going to move all the way to the end of all my if and else if statements that I have in this block. So this is going to be okay. I'm going to say grade equals B. The big thing I have to remember is I have to write this else and then the if. Now you notice I'm keeping the else and the if on the same line. Technically I don't have to. Technically I could put inside of braces like this. However, that's not common to write an else if block. So normally what we're going to do is write else if like this and then keep moving on. Notice that with each one I'm always using greater than or equal to, and then I'm using a smaller number. So I'm going down in the potential value of my grade, but that's going to be how it's going to all work out. So I find my first grade, and then I exit out my block. Finally, I'm going to have one else, and this is what happens if it hasn't been caught by any of these previous if or else if statements. Well, in that case, it's now I know that it's going to be less than a 60, therefore my grade is going to equal F. So you might have been asking, why didn't I use a cout statement inside of all those if statements? Well, think of how many times I've had to do this. By putting grade into a variable, now all I have to do is say something like cout your grade of a, I'm going to put average, gives you a colon like so. With this, now I only had one cout statement. It's a whole lot faster and easier for me to write that code. So does it take a little bit more memory because I have that one extra variable? Yes. Is it worth mentioning? Not even. This saved me a lot more time as a developer and allows me to just reuse those values. Let's run this real quick, just test it with a couple different values. Okay, so first score, let's say I got an 88, I got 94, then I got an 87, I got an 89.6667. Oh man. Almost an A. Look, in reality, I would round that up as a professor, but you know what? Some people are really strict. So we get a chance to see what it is. It gives us a B. This was accurate, maybe not fair, but accurate. Let's try out a couple other values, just see what happens real quick. Run this again. 74, 87, and then, hey, you know what? They got 93. They're really pulling their grades up. 84.6667. Yep, that's a B. Let's try just a couple more just to see what happens. 72, 68, 62. In this case, the grades were going down. It shows a 67.333. That's a D. That's correct. And one more just to see what happens if we do have an F. We'll start off with a 20. They really bombed that one. They do better, but is it good enough? The answer is no. Okay. So based upon these tests, I'm confident in my if statements that yes, based upon the average, I'm getting the appropriate grade. So that's an important thing to take a look at. If you find this helpful and you want to get better at programming in C and C++, please check out the rest of the series and consider subscribing to the channel.